What's up, guys? I'm gonna release this video, kind of tell you what's going on new with me, as well as a little word of warning for people who plan to do what I just did. Now, basically, I have decided, as a personal preference, I decided I'm gonna buy the next gen systems. Now, I have a computer, which is cool and all, but I'm a console gamer at heart, so whether I'm gonna get the PS4 or the Xbox One, that remains to be seen, mainly because the things that the Xbox One have done, which they've gone back on, I didn't really have a problem with it. I could see why it sucked, but on a personal consumer basis, I didn't have a problem with it. But I don't know which one I'm gonna get, mainly just because the PlayStation is $100 cheaper. I'm looking at that, but the PlayStation's controller I don't like it. But basically, because I decided to do that, I decided to update my capture card or update my recording equipment. Now, I used to record with this, the AverMedia Game Capture HD. This thing was cool and all, but it had a couple major problems. The first one was its component cables, which means that the highest quality that you can record with this is 1080i, which, depending on what software you use to edit it, can actually mess it up, because you can boost it up to 1080p, but in some cases it will mess with the quality of the video. So really, I'm just gonna say this thing can record in good 720p, which is what I usually record in it, which is great for smaller file sizes. 720p is very manageable in terms of editing. You know, if you don't have that big of a hard drive space, things like that, 720p is perfect because it still has a sense of beauty to it. It still looks pretty good, especially on the PC. It looks a lot better when it's finally on a smaller screen on the PC or YouTube or whatever you put it on, Twitch TV or whatever, than it does on the TV. But this is what I use now. Because of the new consoles coming out, I decided I'm gonna ditch this, so say bye to that. And I got this thing, the Elgato Game Capture HD, right there. So this thing, unlike the AverMedia, which did composite, this thing is straight USB. So there's USB on that side, which means I can finally play and record on perfect 1080p, which means I don't have to mess with anything. Now, I'm gonna go ahead with the cool things about this thing. For those of you who clicked on this video because of the title, which I probably put as like a buyer beware or whatever, there are things wrong with this thing. At least there are things I want to bring your attention to, especially if you plan to buy this. But for now, I'm going to tell you the cool things about it. The software that it comes with, well, it doesn't really come with software. This comes in a box with all the cables you'll need. HDMI cable. It comes with one HDMI cable. So if you already have an HDMI cable you plug your Xbox or PlayStation into the TV with, you're gonna be fine. It comes with an HDMI cable, and it comes with a little plug-in, a USB plug-in that you put right there. That connects to the computer or laptop or MacBook or whatever you use, and that's how it records. The software you get online at GameCapture.com/download. That's where you get the software that this thing uses to record and to edit. This thing is cool. The pros to having this thing. Well, obviously the first one is it's HDMI input output, so you can play in 1080p. You no longer have to, like, if you've been doing what I do, you no longer have to unplug the HDMI cable, plug in the component cable, restart everything, and then record. And then when you want to play recreationally, you unplug the component cable and all that. This eliminates that. It's straight HDMI cables. So that's a plus. However, the biggest thing that I noticed with this is the coolest feature is the software that it comes with, the Game Capture HD that you get online. It allows you to record at a lesser resolution than what you're playing at. So for instance, if you're playing like I did a couple of test runs with this thing with the NCAA demo. I was playing at full 1080p and recording at 720, or you can record at 480 or 1080. Whatever you choose to record it at, you can record it at that resolution but still play at the full 1080p selection if you choose to. That is awesome. However, obviously it's a little bit of a it messes with it a little bit. But that's the coolest feature. And the other coolest feature is that if you have your microphone, like my Bluetooth or my Blue Snowball mic, which is right there, if you have it connected to the computer you're in, you can just straight record live commentary straight off the bat, which is awesome. It means you don't have to do what I do with the AverMedia, since this doesn't record audio. It means you don't have to go to that extra step of going into a software, going into editing and matching up audio and video and doing all that. You don't have to do that anymore. It records the commentary and puts it into the video, so you can so if you do it perfectly, if you time it perfectly on the video, start and end it perfectly, then you can literally, as soon as you click stop, as soon as it's done processing, you can just throw that on YouTube or Twitch.tv or Facebook or Twitter or wherever you want to put that video. But that's an awesome feature. However, this thing does have problems, and I want to point out the biggest problem I ran into with this thing. This is the buyer beware. If you are looking to get this thing, and I'll show you the box, if you are thinking of getting this thing, make sure your computer is up to date on everything, especially your CPU. The laptop that I originally bought this planning to use my laptop as the recording dock, and then my PC for any editing needed, or vice versa, you know, whatever was appropriate for the time. That's done. This laptop that I use, this laptop is near 5 years old. I've had this since 08, 09, around. I mean, this thing is old. This is an old Dell Inspiron 1545. Needless to say, the specs are outdated. When I recorded this, when I was testing this on there, when I recorded it, the video comes out fine. However, the audio, if you're recording on 1080p and the computer can't handle it, or the CPU can't handle it, and it's starting to overstack, then what's going to happen is that when the video is done processing, in other words, when you end recording, because it keeps recording, the video that you get on the screen, that is rendering. That's the video being put together. So the video that is on your laptop is delayed compared to the video on the TV. However, the TV is live feed. At the end of the processing, when it gets done, after you're done hitting record, the audio will mess up. There'll be screeches, there'll be cracks, there'll be moments where the audio just isn't even in there. They're in blotches. If you're recording live commentary, what'll happen is the live commentary will record where you set it, which means it, and I don't mean like where you set it in the video, because the way I said it, you'll probably be like, oh, well, that's what you want. That's not the case. What I mean by that is that when I was playing NCAA, at the end of the game, I reached the end of the game on the live feed. I was talking about the end of the game. I was talking about stats. I was looking at it, just testing out the mic. When the processing was done, it put that where the video was rendering, which was the end of the first quarter. So in other words, my words were stacking on themselves. By the end of the first quarter, all of my audio was done, because according to the CPU, where it put it in, that is where I set it. It went off of the rendering. It did not go off the live feed. That is a problem, which means that after that specific point, the rest of your video will have no audio on it. Now, I tried to change this up. I changed a couple settings. I even went down to 720p, still had the same problem. I went down to 480p, still had the same problem. So I thought this thing was broken, which I was going to be mad for, because this is damn near $200. So I decided, just to test it out one more time, I switched out my laptop with my gaming rig, which is fairly new. And obviously it's a gaming rig, which means that the CPU, the graphics card, all that stuff, it's above average. It's not the best on the market, but it's got above average, pretty good specs on it. But I'm not really into that computer stuff, so I couldn't tell you specifically. But when I plugged this in at 1080p, it was recording fine. The video was fine. It was fluid. There was no problems. The audio was fine. and the commentary was fine. The only problem is that when I went into the settings, they always have that settings below where it's like, oh, where do you want to record? Do you want to record 1080p, 720p, or 480p? Which 480p is called standard. You click one of those, and then there's a choice below that that says, how do you want this recorded in terms of quality? And of course, they have the good, better, best. I don't know exactly what that means. I think that means how much the computer boots into pushing in the video. So I'm guessing best means like what you play, that's what it's rendering. But at best, I was having little problems. When you move it down to good, it was fine, and I didn't see really any big difference in the quality of the video. It was just the sound matched up. Now I want to test something with this, and I haven't tested out yet. I want to do a really long video because the video that I was testing with was, obviously, since it's a test video, 3-5 minutes. That's short. But the problem that I'm running into is that the audio is recording and being placed where the video is rendering. So what I want to do is I want to do one more test where with my gaming rig, I'm going to stick this thing on there and record me playing a full game of Madden. Not the demo, because the demo's 3 minutes, but a full game of Madden, or a full 12-minute quarter superstar mode in NBA. A full, I mean, we're talking 40-minute video, and I'm going to see if the video, if the audio starts being placed in very strange areas. So I'm going to get back to you on that. But with my gaming rig, it was fine. With my laptop, it was, I guess the video that I was feeding in, the stuff it was doing, it was fine. And also, I don't know if this is also the problem, but the USB on the laptop is USB 2.0, and the USB I used on the gaming rig was USB 3.0, so that could also be a factor in there. But this is just the video that I want to put out, warning anybody who plans to buy the Elgato Game Capture HD. This thing, you might see it. If you're planning to get this, I would say before you buy it, check your computer, check your CPU, check your graphics cards, see if they're up to date, see if they're above standards of today, if they can run games, or record and run games on high settings or low settings, because apparently that is a huge factor into this, because this completely overdid it for my laptop. My laptop just couldn't handle it, but my gaming rig could, so I'm saying that's probably a problem. I would say check that before you get this. And also, if you do buy this, be prepared to spend a couple minutes to an hour just figuring this thing out, because there are certain settings you got to get used to, because this thing wasn't like the AverMedia. The AverMedia is great for a first purchase for anybody who wants to start recording, simply because it doesn't record to the PC. What you play is what it records straight off the bat. Don't have to deal with anything. The only thing it doesn't do is audio, which you can do in post with Audacity if you have it on your computer or whatever. This thing, on the other hand, it records to the PC. So there are settings that you want to test out, and right off the bat, there are going to be things wrong with this. Specifically with the audio, sometimes with the video. So this isn't something you're just going to get straight out the bat and you're going to be able to pump out video after video. You're going to spend a couple minutes, maybe an hour or two, figuring this thing out. And I also have to say, if you're going to get this, if your computer is on the average range of today's, I guess, gaming specs, or just specs in general, to subpar, this might not be the best option for you, because this thing will cause you problems in more ways than one, specifically with the audio, but it will cause you problems with video as well, because video overlays itself. There were certain times with my laptop where the video was clunking together. Like, I guess it was recording and rendering faster than it could put the frames in, so it was a very rare occurrence, but it was still an occurrence nonetheless. So like I said, I don't know if that's just because my laptop is old as hell, or if it's because my PC, it can just handle it. But I would say that's definitely a buyer beware for this thing. If your PC can handle it, this thing is awesome, especially with the factor that you can play in 1080p and record on 720 or record on 480, because you can play at the fullest settings. And if you have a problem with maybe hard drive, or you don't have an internet connection fast enough to pump out videos that are 1080p, you can go with 720p, and you can still play with those awesome graphics and just record at a lower base. That is an awesome feature. So if you're looking for recording equipment, especially with an HDMI, I would recommend this, but only if your PC's up to it. But I ran into those problems. I just wanted to put this video out to warn anybody, or at least tell anybody who's looking at getting this, be cautious. This thing has problems. It's not as perfect as Amazon or as people who did the reviews say it was, because when I bought this, the reviews were awesome. The reviews were like, this thing has luscious graphics, this thing is amazing, this thing records perfectly, you can still play your game, you can, it said all these good things. They didn't mention the audio problem, at least the ones that I saw. They didn't mention the audio problem, which definitely is a slap in the face when you finally first put it in and you realize you can't use your very first video because the audio's messed up. But that's my video. Word of warning. This is a great product nonetheless. It's just I don't feel some of the computers can handle it. So with that being said, that's the end of this video. I just wanted to put this warning out there. If you're looking for a capture card, or if you're looking for any way to record video footage, if you're trying to do that and you don't want to pump this in, I would definitely recommend the AverMedia. Even though you can't play at 1080p, you can only play with component 720. This thing is still amazing. I never had a problem with this thing. So if you don't want to get this, I would recommend this. So with that being said, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. So see you.